hello. How y'all doing? Give this a second. Facebook to send out the notifications on a Friday. We'll see who's out there. I see a few people popping up. Hello, hello. Let's see who's out there as I hit this traffic. What's going on, y'all? Happy Friday. First Friday of the new year. And how y'all doing? Man, I'll tell you what. It's all about personal growth. Well, spiritual growth also, but that's, I'm not here to have a spiritual talk. That's a talk for another time. Just was listening to something and it got me a little fired up. Got me thinking about personal growth. And really, the power of association, man, and sometimes the association might not come from actual physical interaction or necessarily being in the presence of another individual. It might be passively, indirectly, through stuff like books or audios. And I got about 10 minutes before I get to my destination for a meeting I'm heading to. But and since I'm on the highway, I cannot see who's there, but whoever is there, hello, hello. Happy Friday. So listen, one of the things that been doing, like I've been reading. So I'm reading this book by Mark Batterson, who is the senior pastor of National Community Church, and he's the author of multiple books. One of the books is called In a Pit with a Lion on a Snowy Day. And I read that book sometime last year. But now I'm reading his second book, or a second book by him, called Chase the Lion. It's a really, really great book, as well as doing what I normally do, which is listening to audios, podcasts, videos, and so on and so forth from people who are in life where I'd like to be, because that's what I do. I try to associate with people who are in life where I want to be. But I just learned from my mentors that, and I've repeated this like so many times because I was taught this, that the three things that will largely determine who you will be and where you will be in the next 2 to 5 years is going to depend upon, this is not in order of importance, but just, in naming them off. One, the books that you read. There you go. Reading is important. As the saying goes, that readers are leaders. All readers are not leaders, but leaders are readers. And I just heard something, it just kind of tripped me out, and I remember hearing about this before. Teddy Roosevelt, the Rough Rider himself, Mr. Magnanimous, the man who squeezed every ounce of life out of life, the bull moose, President Theodore Roosevelt. He read a book every night. An entire book every night. Like 365 days a year, every night he read a book. And he slept with a revolver next to his pillow, which is pretty cool. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, here's the thing, and I've said this, here's the thing about books. Books will tell you things about yourself that you wouldn't necessarily be open to hearing from another person. And through books, you can get the distilled wisdom of the ages. And so, yes, I'm a big proponent of reading. In fact, I had to chastise myself that last year I did not do anywhere near as much reading as I should have and could have. And I resolved to fix that in 2019. But it's the books that you read. So I'm not talking about you reading any Harlequin romance crap or comic books or whatever like that. I'm talking about things that actually expand your mind, where you gain wisdom and knowledge. The books that you read. That's the first thing that will greatly influence who you will be and where you'll be in the next 2 to 5 years. Your consistent reading habit. The second thing is the audio and video that you listen to and watch. I mean, at the end of the day, you have an eye gate and you have an ear gate. Right? So you got 2 eye gates and 2 ear gates, and you only have 1 speaking gate, which is interesting that God gave it to you in that proportion. You should do a lot more listening and observing than you do speaking. But what you see and what you hear all goes up in here, and it's always going to be there. Now, whether or not you have the neural pathways to recall it, that's a whole other thing. But what you see and hear, especially on a consistent basis, is going to be up in here. So, for example, my wife and I were at the mall and at the, doing some shopping, and was talking to one of the ladies, and they reminded me of my experience working in retail 25 plus years ago. And I think about the fact that there were songs when you work an 8-hour plus day in a retail store that has canned music playing. Man, those songs are going to get in your head because you're going to hear it over and 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 over. And before you know it, when you leave work, you're humming, whistling, whatever, singing that song that you heard over and over and over and over and over, right? And you know the words of the song. And so you can fast forward 25 plus years. And guess what? If I hear those songs, I still know the words because I heard it over and over and over and over and over. Because whatever you see, whatever you hear on a consistent basis is up in there. So shouldn't you be more mindful of what you see and more mindful of what you listen to over and over and over and over and over? Because if it's going to be up in there, don't you want good stuff in there instead of bad stuff going in your head over and over and over and over? Because the more that you see and hear those things, they're going to eventually come out. So what do you want coming out? Do you want good stuff coming out over and over and over and over? Or do you want crap coming out? Garbage in, garbage out. That's what we say in the IT field, right? What does a computer do? A computer spits out what you give it. So if you keep putting in good stuff over and over and over and over, you're going to get good stuff in return. And the same goes for putting crap in. So if you listen to crappy music, you'll have a crappy brain. And it's hard to have a crappy brain and not live a crappy life and not be a crappy person. Right? So the books that you read, number 1, the audio and video that you listen to and watch, number 2, and the people that you associate with. Right? Because you become like those you most closely associate with. It's pretty self-explanatory. You cannot hang out with crappy people on a regular basis and not pick up their bad habits and get crap on you. And not get crap on you, I should say. Right? If you hang out with really crappy people, criminals, eventually the cops are going to bust in and they're going to arrest everybody who's in the room. And if you happen to be in the room with those criminals, they're going to assume that you're a criminal and you're going to get arrested also. Then you got to explain, nah, see, what had happened was I'm not really a criminal. I just hang out with them. And then you got to prove your innocence, which would have been a lot easier to do if you were not associating with criminal-minded people. right? Boogie Down Productions, Criminal Minded, You've Been Blinded. See, there you go. I just took it way back 30 plus years because I used to listen to hip hop like that 30 plus years. So I got those lyrics in my head. They never go away, right? So the books you read, the audio and video that you listen to and watch, and the people you associate with, those things are going to help determine whether or not you're going to learn how to get better. It's not rocket science. Everybody's looking. See, some people complicate things and they say, oh, it can't be that easy. No, it's not an easy thing. I did not say it's easy. You will almost never hear me use the word easy. I don't even like that word easy. Simple is not the same as easy. It is simple. It's a simple philosophy. There's simplicity in nature. God created things. There's an order in nature, but there's a simplicity in nature. Man complicates things many times because we like to think that we're greater than God. So we try to complicate things, but it's a lot more simple than you think. It is those three things primarily. The books you read, the audio and video that you listen to and watch, and the people you associate yourself with, and then your consistent action. Those are the three things that will primarily determine who you will be and where you will be. So in the next 2 to 5 years. So if you want to learn how to get better and learn how to be better, be mindful of the books that you read. Be mindful of the audio and video that you listen to and watch. And be mindful of your associations. It's really that simple. And I thank God that I had mentors in my life, and I still have mentors in my life. I'll tell you this one last thing. There was a gentleman who mentored me literally, 22 years ago, right? When I was a young knucklehead, when I was stuck on stupid, not going anywhere in life. My life was directionless, was relatively meaningless. And God blessed me with someone who came into my life to mentor me. I had to earn access to his mentorship, but he came into life to mentor me. And here's the interesting thing. 22 plus years later, I just had a conversation with his son last night to tell his son just how much his father meant to me. That your father poured years of his life into mentoring me, and it took a while, but the seeds came up later on. So every time I'm on TV or radio, obviously I thank my parents. First and foremost, I thank my parents. So first and foremost, I give all honor, glory, and praise to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, right? But then I give thanks to my parents because they raised me, and I'm blessed with great parents. But I have to say that a large part of where I am and why I am where I am is because that one gentleman mentored me 22 plus years ago. So it was a great honor for me to be able to tell his son how much his father meant and still means to me, because his father taught me about the power and the importance of the books you read, the audio and video that you listen to and watch, and the people you associate with. That's the power of mentorship. So on that note, I've got to run, got to go in for a meeting. I hope I gave you folks something to think about. Please share this if you need to, or if you feel that it's worthwhile. If I don't talk to you the rest of the week, have a good evening. Take care. God bless.